Welcome to Synchronicity, the podcast where we know that nothing is a coincidence and thus everything is intentional. Like this cough. Accidental cough. Yet at the same time, it happened because I intended to take a hit before recording, so I did. And the substance intended to aggravate my throat, and it did. And thus, my body intended to cough, and I did. Now, was there some accidental energy in that? A little bit. I didn't really want to cough. If I could go back in time and not cough, I think I would choose that route. Yet, intentions were set where I still meant to cough. Now, if I did not feel like I meant to cough, I'm supposed to reflect on the actions I took and then realize how they're connected to the reactions that I experienced. Welcome to Synchronicity. Whatever, bro. This is the episode where I am finally going to get into my time with my family over Christmas and dealing with how the Martians are trying to break up families, just overall, households, if I'm going to come up with a different word. That hit may have been a little too strong. I'm like, okay. Anyway. This episode is me finally getting into my time over Christmas because I just spent the last 3 episodes really fleshing out how the Masonic matrix has been manifested so that we all believe that money matters. Boom, right there. So if you haven't listened to the last 3 episodes, highly recommend, all right, because it's going to help you navigate the world that you're in and just be way more aware. And you can do all this extra research online, and all the knowledge that you consume on the internet is only going to make way more sense when you listen to this podcast. So that's the point. I'm here to make space make sense. All right. That's what I've been doing for eons, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. So right now, it's not making sense how families are interacting with each other based on their fear of the crown virus. And can I say virus anymore? Because they're policing these words so hard. Like, I need to say the crown vice. Man, what's the different V with the crown vax? Okay. I feel like that can't get super picked up by AI, right? Like, the robots won't come after crown vax. That sounds kind of fine. Crown vax. Yeah, that's definitely a medication with 100 side effects that are way stronger than the main effect that they're selling you. Come get crown vax. So, the crown vax is, I dealt with it very hard over Christmas, and I'm going to be processing that for myself. And I really wanted to also spend a lot of time before I got into this, which I effectively did, so now I can do it, building all these structures and making these connections to show how much I love the world and how much I love spirituality and how much I love all universes that I have helped manifest civilizations and simulations into. All that symmetry energy. Civilizations, simulations, balance shit. Fair and balanced imaginations where infinite individuals can express their minds freely, safely, happily, and conduct business in higher ascended ways. Now, of course, nothing is ever perfect, right? Like, when I say freely, happily, it's all contextual based in how people want to connect. Like, right now, we don't look free because we're not flying through the air, for example. But because everyone's idea of freedom is not flying through the air, but instead being able to drive a car. Now that vibration is what humans are allowed to relate on. So of course everything's contextual. Every time we speak, it's going to be contextual. But when you can see how the context connects with your space, you're always going to be good. Okay? So I'm not here as Metatron, as Tahuti Trismegistus, as Quetzalcoatl Calloway, as your psychedelic psychopomp symmetry. Definitely not trying to be here building natural structures just so people can fight themselves on them. Like, I get that people have to fight themselves. I understand that. And Odin understands that more than anything. Like, he definitely gets that people have to fight themselves. So provide them an arena to do so. But I don't fully support it. Like, just because I built a structure that's actually supporting people fighting themselves does not mean that I support the fight itself. I do not support the fight itself. I do not support people fighting. I do not support people using structures that I built to fight each other, especially, at all. Do not condone that at all. This is the thing with free will. When you create something, you create an idea and you introduce it into the universe, that idea is an imagination. That idea is an expression of your imagination. You can have infinite expressions of your imagination, right? That's the point of your imagination. It's infinite. But your imagination is going to be expressed through ideologies, right? This is why we all build imaginations based on the ideologies that we uphold. If you and I don't uphold the same ideology, then we're not going to want to build the same imagination together. And that is a representation of how you and I spiritually don't see eye to eye, because we don't see life the same way. Now, if I can see you eye to eye, but you can't see me eye to eye, that means that I'm a higher vibration than you. So that's what it means to be indigenous. Native Americans, indigenous peoples, can see the Europeans eye to eye, but Europeans cannot see Native Americans eye to eye, because the Europeans are low vibration. So the Europeans can't fly. They can't rise. But a bird, it's not hard for a bird to land on the ground and talk to a snake. But watch a snake try to fly up to a bird's nest. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see a snake fly. You're going to see a bird fly and land on the ground, but that snake's going to be stuck on the ground. So those are the Europeans coming into America, the snakes that slithered in, the Slytherins. They slithered all up into the Gryffindors, whatever. Opened up those Griffin doors because they wanted to see those griffins fly. Because the griffins, in this case, the birds, are the indigenous peoples, the Native Americans, that can actually see life from a high perspective, the highest perspective. They can see how everything's connected. So they're not lost in any one environment. That's what it means to be Metatron in your Merkaba and be able to be a mental pilot and actually fly your mind from one atmosphere to another atmosphere, knowing that it's all connected by you, the spirit choosing to express and experience itself. So then this is where each atmosphere is a universe, and then the metaverse is each universe being connected by your Mercury. And your Mercury is your mind. Your Mercury is your mind becoming matter. Hence, it being the 4th day of the week. So these Masons that are using their technological magic to control the minds of America and the world, they want you to be scared of the air because that's the only way they can sell you on being trapped in virtual reality forever. So just be a high vibrational spirit, be indigenous, and use your eagle's ego eye to be able to see how all these ideas that the Masons are projecting out through their technology are connected. They're projecting out that the air is dangerous, yet their stories are not solid at all as to how this pandemic really happens and how they're actually addressing it, and they haven't been handling it well. And they've contradicted themselves virtually like every single day. Like, they've contradicted themselves so hard, they're constantly scrubbing things and deleting things from the internet because that's the power that they feel like they have. And that's the power that they've manufactured for themselves. It doesn't matter what you say, they get to project all of their ideas into the technology that they created from stolen resources. Technology that you bought into, so now you're going to buy into the ideas that the technology is projecting at you. And that's especially the magic here. When you work so hard for money and then you buy technology with that money, you're going to trust and believe in that technology basically almost as it seems like for humans, as much as you trust and believe in that money's ability to give you security and that money's ability to make you matter and make you feel good. So now you feel like everything that the money can afford you is going to be as trustworthy as the people who made you believe that this money means something. When literally this money was just completely stolen from Metatron, is stolen from Egypt. All the ideas that Masons have are stolen from Mercury in general, and they're only using them to eat what was already created. And all the technology that they create is consumptive. That's why these phones aren't meant to last. That's why these cars, and really none of this technology is created to last, because they only make it to consume the environment. Thus, it all has like planned obsolescence, and it's all doomed to fail. It's all just them manipulating nature so that they can build a structure that supports their desire to enslave you and every other indigenous individual that's born on planet Earth. Quote unquote, planet Earth. This is why it's important to know that I'm at war, quote unquote, war with these people who are colonizing and consuming my creations and then lying about it and manipulating everyone to believe in them instead of believing in themselves. Because the whole point is you're supposed to believe in yourself. You're not supposed to believe in someone else telling you that you're not good enough without them. Whoa. Like Christianity, that's so disgusting. They're so evil. They're so evil. And that's why historically you're only going to see that they colonize and take over other people's lands through violence and genocide. And then they justify it with Jesus. And Jesus is just Zoroaster, but a whitewashed version. But I mean, really, the point is Jesus is the superhero that is a combination of all the ideas and teachings that they stole from not only Zoroaster, but also Hermes and many other messengers of Mercury, Enoch, for sure. So the point is, I love everyone a lot. I love my family a lot, all my families, and I am about to speak on my time with my family over Christmas out of love for all the other families. And this is why, really, I want to use this as the opportunity to point out just how contradictory Christianity is and how Christians are just big ass walking contradictions that use judgment to feel like they're better than others. And then they use that judgment to not only feel like they're better than others, but to justify how they want to eat the environment that they claim to barely understand, but it was created by God for them to be happy. Which is true. It was created by me for them to be happy. It was created by Metatron, by Mercury, by the ME energy for them to be happy. But if they're unhappy when they're eating it, and they're also saying that they don't have to be grateful. And not only that they don't have to be grateful, but that they should worship the idea that everything that they're eating was created by one individual. So now they're just eating a bunch of individuals, but saying they're justified in eating all these animals and all these plants because one individual said it was okay. That's rape. That's spiritual rape right there. So this is why Christians support rape. This is why Christians in general make systems by raping Native Americans, and Jews built Christians to do that, so they're the same. It's just the whole point of Masons building systems out of rape. And in their religions, specifically Christianity, you can see the contradictions. The contradictions are rather massive in how they justify genocide, because this is very important. It's a spiritual subconscious vibration that the Jews have put everyone who believes in Christianity in. And in general, it's a Christian world. So it's about that sheep vibration. And it's really funny because my family specifically my aunt, is like almost self-aware of that sheep vibration thing. And really, I was seeing how the media was programming her and everyone who believes in coronavirus to be very angry and upset at how people are calling them sheep, and then to make them scared of that. So she even expressed to me that she was worried that I might see her as a sheep, which is some like level of spiritual self-awareness that I'm only just now kind of getting into for myself. So that's just hilarious because Christians literally are sheep and the Jews are literally the shepherds. And the fact that Christians can't see how their whole religion was created by Jews to manipulate them literally makes them like at the vibration of sheep. Like they're just willing to corral, herd, and support whatever desires the man has. And they don't really they're not really even aware of who the man actually is because they're so lost in their desire to connect, basically. And and that's why the Jews created Christianity, to control the desires of how people connect. That's why Christianity literally tells you not to practice divination, but at the same time it says that you can tell people they'll go to hell if they're not worshiping Jesus. Or Christianity tells you not to practice astrology, but also you should practice your birthday and you should practice holidays. Or Christianity tells you do not murder. Does Christianity say do not eat people? I don't know, but it definitely says at the same time eat the body of Christ. Or Christianity says you are a child of God, but at the same time Jesus is the only child of God, and you need to sacrifice your life to him if you're going to get to actual God. So all Christianity is doing is using relatable indigenous ideas and energy to lie to you. And this is basically the white witchcraft that technology has humans all wrapped up in. All that predictive programming and everything. So now Christians, they watch the news. They're willing to believe anything they see on the news because they don't know that the news is the Jews manipulating their emotions. And now the Jews can play God by expressing anything they want on light, on TV. And as long as they make it look real on light, now Christians will use their emotions to make it real. The sheep will react to it, they'll herd, and now you get the herd mentality. And this is the language that we have to talk about it, because this is literally their imagination. Like, this is how they think, this is their mind, we're in it. I didn't make this language. This language was just stolen from me. So I have a higher awareness on how it was made and how it manifests for all of us to communicate with. So Christians literally can't see the contradictions that they're wrapped up in because they're just too lost in their desire of wanting to connect with someone else. And that's where you literally get them following a religion where they would rather, instead of fasting on their own, worship the idea of eating someone who fasted instead. Because that's literally connection versus creation. Alright, because when you actually create, you separate from things that you're connecting to up to that point. And that's just the idea of actually being more in your space versus needing to go out into spaces outside of yourself. Okay, so when you get lost in wanting to connect with other people, this is where you start to consume other individuals. You start to consume environments outside of yourself. You think you're creating experiences, but really if you connected more with yourself, you would create something that actually allows you to connect in a more spiritual, greater way. In a way that's way more supportive of your space, your spirit, versus supportive of spirits outside of yourself. And then this is where in 3D terms, that manifests as, oh, let me not do what looks easy and get a job working for some corporation that's telling me they can guarantee me these things. Let me do what might be hard and connect with myself, separate. Instead of connecting with someone outside of myself, the actual connection in the waterway, let me separate, be more fire, and connect with my God, connect with my imagination so I can actually manifest something that supports my mind. And then this is where you get true individuality, and why the government doesn't want you to be an individual. This is why the government goes out of its way to kill black people who separate and assert their individuality and build something like Tulsa, Oklahoma, or whatever. Right? When they like start to build their own things, white people need to be needed because that's the only way they can make their government matter. Their government only matters if they're stealing the energy of black people. So they need to be needed. Like, they can't not have slaves, or else they can't build anything. They just can't build anything alone. They have to steal everything and take all of it. They have to colonize everything. That's why they're obsessed with slavery and genocide and war. So, without further ado, let's take a trip into the astral realm, and when we come back, I will start dissecting the Christian contradictions that allow the corona crown virus to thrive in the family household.
Chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat that womb to see if we can dance like asymmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to who teachers, my good sis will be back soon. I'm busy chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat that womb to see if we can dance right. Asymmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to who teachers, my good sis will be back soon. I'm busy chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Reflecting on my past like an esoteric flashlight. Hey, what can I see? All the bodies that I used to be, all the hobbies that have my cheek to express how much I love to be me. I love to be seen, lead to the tree, some of my leaves to breathe in the sea. My spirit's connecting with chaotic elements. They call me away, so I come for the hell of it. Should've straight pocket course, I'm with the helm of it. To who these will sell it? Hermes is free, I'm flower peddling, powerful rebel. To melt with, what else could I be but church to see? Tribune round twice C-H-A-S-L-E to see my O. Everyone knows I'm God of the moon, bucked on the storm, I can only know my perspective and roll in the show. Could you see its flow? I go into glow. Road to grow the garden in my soul. Heaven's a goal, so what should I show you? How light is a go-to? Substance spaces used to see the rooms where they get homeschooled. Cool to my one as I know. My nothingness on my own. Man of my colors afloat. Simulations with all of my soul. So many situations I have saved. My planet is limit equality. My quality's quantity, botany. Triple my tree, trigonometry, my angels be trying and ghosts like isosceles. Ooh, I'm a beast from the east, falling angles in astronomy, Mercury reigning in sovereignty. Communicate ever more consciously. Just to kisses, cause then ideologies ain't been fitting me. Consistently I grow in every industry. Leave it in the dust when I'm in this, authentically cultivating on my winning streak. Maybe I'm in too deep, maybe I sin when I go to sleep. Gotta speak to walk with a spire's key to fly and free and one's frequency and frequently see what one dreams to be. Intent to vibration. All the wisdom I'm chasing circles back to my inner station in space. And ultimate thrills all over the place. I taste the thrills of my chase. To who do the choice? It's the able my voice. You go cannot afford this. Go pace to adore us by bringing the chorus. All you're doing is words. Your spirits adore us with grace. I dance and judge a desire. She calls me a gentle messiah. We fall in love to get higher. My pilot's inspired when she breathes. Release turn my century's fire. Hermetic with a flow, let me spit that. Aesthetic with a show, let me kick that. Kinetic with a glow, let me hit that. Connect a little more, let me sit back. Yeah, deep into my Merkaba. If you can't fly, never heard of ya. Soaring high, my Merkaba. Gots to me, everybody heard of us. All cause of me, all cause of we. Magic manifests when we triple RC. Bringing to life everything we can see. Communicating everything we can be. Like what can I be? Like what can I be? Connecting so infinitely, there's no limit to what I can be. I feel me so deep, I chill on my beat. And don't speak of peace. Life under the sea is so deep, it'll put you straight to sleep. And that's not for me, so I'll be chilling on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Please call me in to beat that womb, to see if we can dance like asymmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to t-shirts, my kisses will be back soon. I'm busy chilling on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat the womb, to see if we can dance right. Asymmetry, triple balance in my seas. spirits call me to you. Teachers, my business. We'll be back soon. I'm busy chilling on the moon. Chilling on the moon. Chilling on the moon. I'm busy chilling on the moon. I just reflect on what I do. Then build worlds for the cosmic school. I just reflect on what I do and dive deep into my cosmic pool of winter springs to fall back into my summer. My God never wants to sleep or slumber. So my spirit used to Lucifer to become a human. Now my mind is undercover so I can connect in our cosmic sea. The universe to show me what I can be. So many simulations calling upon me to share hermetic keys. My plantation receipts, my tree Mercury. Flying into 5 cycles and now I'm dying. Mercury. Flying. I've been summoned to 5 cycles, now I'm dying. So tell me what's the deal? I've been flying. I'm with you in 5 cycles, now I'm dying. Tell me what is real. I've been trying to connect the truth past all these white men lying. We need the truth to heal so we can move up. Like I intend when I build cities that let us choose what we want to think and feel. So your individuality can come out to play, or also to a point in expressing your space. Or calling Callaway to say your dreams should be what you chase. When you open your eyes, you see reflection. Planet sky from your direction. Flex my mind, expand to reflection. Sex and bites, receiver projection. Sex on Mercury, writing sessions. Y'all made a hermity about theory guess. I'm unpredictable, bringing these blessings. Don't be cynical, you never be a lesson. God of the moon, man of the sun. Putting these cycles to learn how we run. I stop with the hell, it's 50-1. These CJ demons are taking like a gun. Have as hard as me when I'm nothing. My body stays steady bumping. My tribute cellular function, rubbing a dance in the sun. Now I'm a star, live with a car, taking me real far. Leave your home to find out who you are. Extra stance to feel our heart. Arcs and senses, R&B art. Indigenous height, invisible, like part that we're seeing talk. Moses coming to stare from the start. Teachers in late, telling me start. Can they call it a chart that says your dreams should be chase. Your dreams should feel hate race. Constant change, don't stay one place. My trend top here, standing in space. Minds connected, inspired. Spreading the fire, communicating water. Cause constant desire, time to be alone and not ice and inspired. Besides, side of ourselves to fly higher. And these that's what I want for your fate. I just want you to be great. Take carpe seas every day. Start Sharpie, stay in your lane. Hey, your dreams should build your chase. Your demons should freely erase. Constant change don't stay in one place. Hey, your dreams should build your chase. My dreams to the bass to my music. My heart beats rhythm so I can use it. To connect with spirits to call me away from Mercury. Whether I'm out or trying to monster to the fun place where you're hurting me. Simulation, still on my consciousness. I share wisdom from my esophagus. Cause I'm containing my compass awakening. Any public view where the consequences come to with demons dominance over the world we're in. Let the games begin. Shake, share their skin. Just a lion. Ganning greets you with a grin. Hermesy, it's skin. Cause colonize. Swing when they stay in sin. But the website's been cut your lives every day. God's coming Spider-Man. Cause I connect how we play. Before I go silent, just one thing to say. Your dreams should build your chase. Your dreams should build your chase. Your demons should feel here race. Constant change don't stay in place. Price right out so you stay in this space. Minds connected inspired. Spreading the fire. Communicating the water cause causes desires. Time to be alone and not eyes inspires. Visit us at ourselves to fly higher. Hey. I built Metatron or Mazda. Now I'm symmetry in the industry. Whether Metatron or Mazda, I've been symmetry. Are you listening? Are you missing things? I've been kissing rings, turning toys into wedding rings. Yeah.
So, before, when I came back to LA from being with my family over Christmas, I thought I was going to do a podcast where I gave a blow by blow since I was there for a few weeks. But now that I've waited so long, right, I'm way more cool about it, way more analytical about it. I think that's why I waited so long too. So also I was focused on building other things and there's only so much time. So let me just start with the fact that my family is very wealthy. And that's because my uncle is a professional athlete who is very intelligent with his money. Okay, he's a professional athlete who is very smart, business savvy in his way. And then my aunt is even more business savvy and more intelligent. In certain man, I mean, they're both very smart, but it's just my aunt is like very intelligent. And this is why, like, all this is not personal. This is about the contradictions again that Christians are wrapped up in. And how they're stuck at a vibration of fear and being manipulated by the people who want to be seen as Jesus. And that would be the Jews. That's why Jesus and Jews is the same thing. But then the point is Jesus is a victim of the government. right? So Jesus is a true son of God. So Jews are the true son of God. But at the same time, Jews are a victim of the government. So you can't say anything about them. And that's the witchcraft right there. All right. So when I'm explaining it out now, don't let the witchcraft be worked on you anymore. Okay. Because that's what it is. They simply created a religion where they can be seen as victims of the government that they're telling you to worship and serve. Because that's the way that they can trap you in the vibration of wanting to relate on being a victim of the government that's cannibalizing you. So now they're also teaching you to cannibalize the body of Jesus, the one true son of God, because that's the only way you can get to God. And that represents how they feel about you. They feel like they need to build a government out of cannibalizing you, killing you and eating your flesh so that they can get to the one true God. And then that's how they actually feel, by the way. They just manipulate you to believe in the flowery, super conscious love and light version. But it's all right there. It's all right there. It's right there. It's their book. They made it from ideas they stole from Zoroaster, but it's their book. It's just how they feel about indigenous peoples and you. Even if you're not indigenous, now my family is indigenous, but even if you're not indigenous, if you support the genocide and slavery of indigenous peoples, they also support your genocide and slavery because they want to use you to eat them. So they're just trying to build a system that allows them to eat whatever they want. And they need to use love and light to do it. They need to. They need to. So that's what makes this crown sickness. This crown virus. I just want to say that word. It's fine, I think, now. Man, people who are listening to this are supposed to listen to it regardless of an algorithm supporting me or some shit. So this isn't about an algorithm. I'll just say crown virus, though. The whole point is that the crown virus needs to be advertised and pushed the same way Jesus is, with love and light. So the Jews who are manipulating the Christians, okay, my family and many of our families, most of our families are Christian. I know most black families are even like Christian because that's what it means to be black. You were erased by Jews. Jews came and used English to erase your indigenous individuality. So now you believe that you be black. And now you believe that you need to be sacrificed to the government and cannibalized by the people who made the government so that you can go to heaven. And that's what they taught you through the English language and everything that you can perceive inside of the English language until I got here. Right now. What's up? So the point of Jesus and the vaccine is to make you believe that someone is indoctrinating you into a system for your love and for your light. And now you're actually going to be seen as a demon if you don't agree to sacrifice your life to Jesus or sacrifice your life to the vax. So this is how Jews have trapped, or Masons, Masons. This is how Masons have stolen everything from Metatron and Mercury and are using these ideas to trap people in the religious sense, okay, sacrifice your life to Jesus, and the scientific sense, sacrifice your life to the vaccine. If you don't sacrifice your life to the vaccine, you're going to go to hell. You're evil. That's what I went through in my time with my family, where it was like whole subconscious spiritual warfare of them like projecting onto me that I'm a demon, that I'm actually, no matter how much fasting I did, so I'm actually like Jesus. I'm way more like Jesus than any of them. They're all Christians. They're older than me. They've been Christians way longer than me, worshiping the sacrifice of Jesus, but it never came to their minds to perhaps fast to connect with God themselves. But here I am doing it extensively. Yet somehow they're all smarter than me because they got shot. They got their vax. And now they get to judge me about how I'm not smart. And not only am I not smart, but I must be trying to put people's lives at risk, or I'm just dumb, or I'm just young, or whatever other witchcraft. There's so much witchcraft. It was so annoying. Like, it literally makes me not want to spend any time with my family because they're just so judgmental. And then they're judgmental from a completely wrong standpoint. So they're judging me, saying that I'm not healthy because I'm not choosing to get shot up by heavy metals and chemicals and garbage that they can't even tell me what it is. They're just telling me that Jews told them to trust it. So now they're smarter than me because they trust it. Now I'm not responsible. Now I'm not doing my part as a good citizen because I'm not getting shot up by the same white supremacist structure that they're choosing to uphold. It's literally just Christian mindset. Like, this is how indigenous peoples got colonized and cannibalized. It's the same exact religious mindset of, we got worshipped by the vaccine, we got shot by Jesus. If you don't get shot by Jesus, then we get to shoot you against your will, and we're justified in it because you're a demon. You're harmful to us. We need to spread. It makes no sense that your solution for an airborne virus globally is to force every single human to get shot up. I'm talking to Bill Gates of hell right now. Okay, for some reason people aren't aware of, like, at least the figureheads and the fucking face puppets of the Masons who are orchestrating these events, even though Bill Gates is objectively up here saying that he needs everyone to get shot by his vaccine before things go to normal, and even then things may not fully be normal. Just always rely on him and connect to his internet. What? And Christians are just here, like, supporting it. Like, it's just insane because, look, my aunt is a doctor. So because my aunt is a doctor, she feels like she has way more authority to teach people and project these ideas into their space, because that's what she has invested her ego in. Like, she's invested her whole imagination, her whole awareness into this medical power structure. So she can't see further than the Masons have trained her to see. So for some reason, no one in my family cares, even though I have like a medical family. They don't give a fuck about me telling them about the caduceus. It's hilarious. I literally told my aunt about me making this podcast, and she like shook her head and explicitly said, no one's trying to listen to you talk on a podcast like that. And like, no one's trying to listen to you talk about the caduceus like that. Like, I remember her saying that. I'm like, oh, okay, got it. And I just had to think, like, well, you know, I know the people that actually care about spirituality will want to listen. So you're just letting me know that you don't care about spirituality. You care about the physicality of eating things that make you feel good, I guess. And that's why you've been a Christian your whole life, but you've never fasted or come to any of the conclusions that I have. Like, you're just way more focused on consuming, and thus you're just not interested in the spirit. And you can't imagine that people would be interested in me talking about the symbol that you sacrificed your life to. I'm just like now confused at how she can be a doctor and watch all this mindless entertainment, watch completely garbage shows, but at the same time say that no one would want to listen to me talk about the historical origin of the symbol that she sacrificed her life to. What? See, the contradictions in Christians are insane. Like, when people put you down and they don't even understand who you are, it's just like, it becomes laughable but also infuriating. And then you just have to learn how to alchemize literally that infuriating anger into laughable sarcasm or like joy, just something funny for you, or even whatever, something that makes you feel lighter. All right, something that makes you feel lighter. But it's whatever, because I mean, really, this whole lesson with my family was me learning that they're not my spirit family. So, you know, this is just like very important separation. I've lived this whole life as Chase, being all invested with and like connected to this family, and not able to perceive my actual soul group, my actual soul family from before being born into this reality. And yeah, my experience with my family here really forced me to have to get better at separating from my body and taking my mind from this reality into other realities, because I'm not even understood by my family here. Like, I don't have anyone here who actually understands me. That's why I'm here doing this podcast, speaking to myself alone, because I have to understand me and connect with myself so much. I just build a structure that allows other people to see who I am, and now nature grows. That's how God works. Whoop-dee. But it's very alone. It's a very alone time. It's a very lonely time. And I mean, no one has to say lonely. It can be lonely, but it's 100% an alone time. So this family that I have grown up with and connected with, I up to this point are simply individuals who I have been relating with inside of a white supremacist government that is using my creations to enslave indigenous individuals. And they don't believe me when I say that I'm the creator, which shows me that my soul isn't showing. Really, no one will believe me necessarily if I just say that I'm the creator of these ideas and structures that Masons have stolen from Mercury in order to conduct business. That's why it takes me naturally creating from my space for anything to really happen. If I try to get anyone to believe me outside of myself, nothing would get done. Right? I have to connect with myself and talk to myself so that other people can grow and learn. No one else is at my level for me to build the things of ascension. If I literally try to connect with anyone else on their level instead of with myself while trying to build structures of ascension, then no one's going to ascend because I'm always going to be on a lower vibration or some lower energy in general. And yeah, it's especially true in this time, in this life, in this reality, where my family, people in general, but especially my family, they're colonized, they're mentally handicapped by Masons. So they can't see me for who I am. They only see me for how they've been taught to see me. And thus, the emotional spiritual witchcraft of crown virus is at play, because perception is projection. And the coronavirus, the crown virus law, is simply Jews weaponizing the power of perception being projection. So because people perceive their technology, Jews can project, Masons can project through the technology that there is a dangerous virus in the air killing everybody. And now, even though there's nothing in the air killing anybody, once people read that on their technology, they perceive it and thus project it because it was projected into their perception. So now that's all they can see in the world, because all they see in the world is their phone, and their phone keeps telling them that the world is dangerous. So now all they're going to see in the world is danger because all they see in the world is their phone, because really they just see the world through their phone. So because these Masons can manipulate how you see the world through your phone, through technology, this is where we get #FilmYourHospital, where they objectively lie on the news, and then real people can watch the news, go to those hospitals, and record their own videos showing that they're lying, but then those videos get taken off the internet because the Masons have the power to do that. That's the whole point of them owning YouTube and owning all these structures. They can control and take down whatever they don't want anyone to see. And then they just further project what they want you to see. So now, boom, you're only going to perceive the projections of the Masons. And the Masons want you to believe that the air is dangerous so they can trap you on the metaverse that they stole from Metatron. So because the crown virus is projected through the technology into your eyes, your soul holds on to it, and then your soul takes this idea into the world. And now everyone is scared of breathing the air, and then everyone's forced to wear a mask and feel like a superhero because Marvel told them that superheroes wear masks. Superheroes live in fear. This was so subconsciously programmed, it hurts, actually. And now I have to look at Hertz, Hertz, and think about how much that hurts, that it hits my vibration like that. It's just so, like, this language, everything that is done is so programmed and so intentional. Welcome to our podcast. That's why we're talking about it so passionately like this. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is intentional. So the way that Martians have manipulated humans and put them into this fearful state and taught them to worship being saved from constant problems and calamities is so intentional, it hurts my soul. It's wild. So I have to be here because I care a lot. I care a lot. This is so insane. It's so wrong. I hope I can help, but I'm not in control of if my family wants to support genocide, or if people in general want to be ignorant as to how the Masons that they are working for are cannibalizing indigenous individuals and making money sex trafficking children. You know, if Christians don't care about that, which it seems like they really don't, then fuck. I'm just wondering what to do, and what I have to do is do this. talk to myself. Because at least I'm getting smarter the better I'm able to put these connections together, and everyone who listens is going to get smarter. This is just how a tree grows. All right, my nature exists alone, but it does expand when your nature combines with it. And now when all of our natures come together, we can create one big planet that we call Earth. And that's why I can look at nature, love to go on psychedelic trips, look at nature, and appreciate individuals outside of myself. I built the structures that make individuals outside of myself possible, but the point is, everything that someone creates as an individual is a representation of how their space is moving through the atmosphere that they're choosing to communicate into at that time. That does not mean that their soul is showing. That simply means that you are using your mind to communicate through a body at a current point in time. And then over time, you're going to build a relationship with the bodies that are also communicating inside of that atmosphere. And throughout all of those moments of your life, you're going to be expressing your individuality. You're going to be expressing your imagination. And it's going to result in you building or manifesting that imagination that you see inside of your space with the people, with the bodies that you are choosing to communicate with inside of the atmosphere that you are all bringing your elements into. This is how we all create nature. This is why we're all creating nature out of our souls, so that we can relate with each other. But then the moment we experience nature, we're going to experience it as separate spaces, because we're all separate spaces choosing to come together and create nature. See how easy it is? See how easy it is? See how easy it is? So now you can synchronistically find your perfect heaven, your perfect spot in nature, in the universe, because you're happy alone. Now you are on your Hermes shit. This is hermetic mode. This is you being in your Merkaba, using Metatron's Merkaba to fly from your heaven into hell and consciously bring heaven to earth. Now you're building your own Egypt. You're manifesting your own pyramids. Look at that. Boom, boom. You are your own master mason. Way before Masons stole their idea of what it means to be a Mason from Mercury. Okay, because that's all it is. Mercury's born in May 16th, 1997, for Chase Clarence Calloway. But the point of a Mason is that it's Zoroaster, it's Taurus. That's why a Mason is obsessed with Mercury in general. They want to literally just eat everything that I make and be the Masons, because they want to be the Tauruses that stabilize their idea of the Matrix. But their idea of the Matrix is simply cannibalizing indigenous individuals that are actually happy alone and actually productive, because these Masons don't know how to do shit alone. They literally are so chaotic and so weak on their own. All they know how to do is fight themselves and then externalize how they fight themselves onto others, which is why they create racism, they create laws, they create religion to spread war. It's pretty simple when I break it down like that. But I get it. My family is just super deep trapped in the Matrix. Everyone's like really deep in the Matrix. That's why that movie was made. They felt like they could reveal the whole point of everything that they did. And again, this is all a social experiment by Metatron. Okay, so indigenous peoples listening right now. Whoa. I just got the sharpest jolt in my ear. Ouch. That shit was crazy. I just got like the sharpest high-pitched jolt in my ear. Like it almost felt like a stab. And I was about to say, that's gnarly. Because we have this big theory in the spiritual community right now that when you hear high-pitched sounds, it's a message. And I was saying that before I was aware of anyone else saying that to myself. Like I would experience this through fasting, especially like hearing these high-pitched noises, these high-pitched sounds that would signal to me to pay more attention to whatever I was communicating about up to that point. But a lot of the time, I feel like it's just technology too, which it is. The technology that we have around us is constantly emitting these high-pitched sounds. They fluctuate all the time. A lot of that shit can be coincidence, for real. Like actually, I'm like for real. Like the refrigerators are emitting like 6 different high-pitched frequencies. Your TV is emitting like 3 different high-pitched frequencies. The phone is emitting frequencies. Everything's like all these high-pitched frequencies. But when something really stands out like that I had to say ow and now go on this different path talking about it, I was literally going to say All indigenous peoples listening, don't feel like a victim. It's easy to look at history and objective reality and see full victim mode. That's because this is the mind of Martian Masons. This is how they view us. They view us as victims. And this is why they are obsessed with being Jewish, because Jesus as a Jew is supposed to be a victim of the government, as a true son of God. And they want to be seen as a true sons of God, which is you. All of you indigenous individuals are the true children of God. And because these white supremacist Masons want to be seen as you, they create a religion that is purely designed to cannibalize you, justify cannibalizing you, and make you support that, and use all this emotional witchcraft so that you literally are stuck in a simulation where you are supporting the cannibalization of your own family and your own ancestors and your own self. And thus you're going to be enslaved. You're going to spend your time getting nothing while giving them everything, right? You give them all of your life. They give you nothing in return. They steal from you. They put you in prison. They just use money to kick you out of your home. They just use money to steal from you. They just use the legal system to waste your time completely. Like the legal system just wasting your time. All this time wasted time. All because this was the point of them making money and building this Masonic matrix off of Jesus. The whole point is to put you in a sheep-like negative fear mentality where you're scared of your space. And once you're scared of space, they can make up anything. This is where we now get the concept of a space Jew, okay? Anubis taught me this. Literally, I didn't get this from anywhere except Anubis. Anubis taught me what a space Jew is, all right? And this is where it just gets deep. Okay, but it's also just naturally part of what I'm talking about, so whatever. But the point is, everything I just said there, right? So I can say it gets deep, but let me keep it a little simple. I'm not trying to say it's like super deep, but whatever. The point is, once a space Jew has abducted your mind in their UFO, they can make up anything, because everything is made up. All ideas come out of space. So a space Jew is someone colonizing your space. This is what a colonizer is. So now they want to steal everything that comes out of your space, and thus they don't even want you to know that you are a space creating yourself. If you knew that you were a space creating yourself, a space Jew would not be able to colonize your soul and steal your body, because you would be too connected with yourself to actually let them eat you. Okay, so this is for all my infinite indigenous individuals. Okay, triple I. All right, not just 2 eyes, but 3 eyes. Okay, you got that third eye, bro. It's all about knowing that everything you see is a projection of your space. Thus, you are the space that are observing your own projections. And as you observe your projections, this allows you to connect with your imagination and communicate your idea of God into the universe. Your whole life has been you doing this. It's just that Masonic Jews taught you that you are only doing it for their God, and thus you need to be enslaved by their idea of money. You need to build their matrix, and you need to support their Marvel Martian imaginations. And their imaginations are simply just stolen from indigenous individuals. They don't even have their own imagination. They just want to eat everything. And that's why they support cannibalism so hard and build a religion out of that. So, my aunt, as a doctor, has sacrificed her life, has given her soul up to this point. That's what it means to like uphold a job or whatever. You're sacrificing your soul, your individuality, to uphold someone else's structure so that she can be prosperous through the medical system. She's very smart. She's very awesome. So, and this is where I have a family that's like full of doctors, low-key. And it's just kind of my subconscious energy that I manifested into. Indigenous doctors. So, whatever. The point is everyone's colonized, of course. But that's how this system has been running up to this point. So it's just like this inevitable change that's happening through me as symmetry, the synchronicity in your life, all of our lives, just letting you know that everything's a synchronicity. It's pretty nice. It's pretty cool. So My aunt, as a doctor, she is very in her ego about her medical knowledge. You can't tell her she's wrong. And especially in this world right now, how insane would I be to tell my aunt as a doctor that the crown virus isn't real? Even though I've been saying it and saying it in different ways of how they manipulate the media, how insane would I look to the rest of the world if I really like doubled down on that, considering her whole job is to manage it? All I would do is put her in the energy of judging me for saying that her reality isn't real. Her whole reality is managing the crown virus that I'm not even allowed to say because they're policing it so hard. Because supposedly it's so real, we can't talk about it. Which makes no sense, by the way. If this is a real thing, why can't we talk about it? I've never once in any lifetime or in any history of humanity or just like civilization, no, it makes no sense. Never once seen such contradiction. Actually, though, objectively, like I'm being so real right now, I've never seen such intense contradiction. That's why I'm calling this Christian contradictions right now. Maybe I'll make it a show or something. It's insane. I've never seen this. It's so hard. Like, I see why I need to be here. I see why I'm called here as Chase Calloway. I see why I'm called here. But wow, how in the actual fuck do you sell to an entire global population that we are all suffering from a pandemic that we are not allowed to talk about? I cannot imagine that humans would actually trust a government that somehow is policing their ability to talk about the pandemic that they're supposedly going through. Wouldn't you think that a government that actually cares about your health would be concerned about amassing all the information and not being biased? Like, they're literally completely on only one side of the fence, which is, this is dangerous. We need to scrub all information of people saying otherwise, even though you literally say yourself, government, that it has a 99.97% survival rate. So to be policing so hard, people talking about how the hospitals are not full, and you're taking down simple videos of people filming their hospitals, and you're taking down videos of people talking against what you're constantly projecting through the news, and then you buy YouTube and then take away the dislike button, and now it's just constant news that people can't even see the dislikes for anymore? What? Whoa! Whoa! That's crazy! Yo! How are humans this blind? How are humans this blind? I can't fathom being this blind. Oh no! Like, that's insane. That's insane. And I've explained this to my family. They don't give a fuck. Like, literally, that's the power of the ego. People are only aware of what they want to be aware of. You know, like, if they don't care how they're supporting cannibalism and genocide and rape and murder, then they're not gonna actually listen to me when I talk about all the ways in which they're doing that. They're just gonna keep doing that. And they're gonna find ways to judge me for not being responsible for not getting shot by their system, because the government's bigger than me. I'm just some little kid in their eyes. I'm not a spirit. I haven't lived all these past lives that I'm hella aware of. To them, I'm just like them, but worse. I'm smaller. I'm not as old as them. Their scope of reality is limited by their physical body age, and they've been taught to be hyper judgmental of people who are not older than them. So they're just super lost in the world, and then they refuse to even acknowledge the spirituality of the fact that a kid could be older than them based on that kid having an older soul, aka having more experiences, having more memories, having more connections in the grand scope of totality. They can't perceive that. They're too lost. They're too indoctrinated. Thus, they're going to be very aggressive and Martian in how they judge people. But then that's where everyone has their own way of being Martian. So my family's just very, like, sly. Like, specifically my time with them over Christmas, it was just very annoying because my uncle was supposed to help me basically, but that like completely fell through. So right now I haven't talked to him in months because he said that we were going to talk in January and it's now early May. And that was after he put off talking to me multiple times or whatever. Because what was going to happen, which he had me make, like, whatever. I ended up making my fasting course, the spiritual version first. And I made the physical version, actually, or the apprentice version, for professional athletes. Because my uncle, being affiliated all up in the NFL, he said that he was going to get it in there. And then that's how I would be able to make money, basically. Teaching people everything that I've learned through fasting. And then that's where I ended up spending an extra like 30 plus hours making that course. Because I realized that the spiritual course was too spiritual and too esoteric for professional athletes. So I really like dumbed it down to a white supremacist Mason Christian scientific mind set, whatever. So people can like really understand it from that basic Masonic Christian mindset right there. That like very grounded scientific mindset. And then like the highest thing might be a comic book, but really it's all about science, and it's just me talking about the vibration, but really the science that's already out, that has already been exposed about how fasting is super healthy in all these different ways. And that's just where I get more demonic, more into the details of the physical reality versus the spiritual reality and all these higher ideas of how that maneuvers your body through space, whatever. So I made this new version of the course so that my uncle could sell it to the NFL, but things kept getting prolonged. Like he kept not actually reading the papers that I sent him, and he like kept saying that he would, but he wouldn't. And it's just annoying because I'm over here like banking on being able to make money through the NFL so that I can support myself. But since he's already supporting himself, he doesn't really care about me, and he's not trying to support me or help me like that. So, and that's what I had to learn over time. But back then, I really thought he was trying to help me. Now I know. Now I've learned. But back then, I thought he was really like actually going to be getting into the NFL and actually trying to read what I sent him and everything. And he kept giving me pointers. Like he would watch the videos I sent him and say, "Oh, they won't like this video. Make another one." And then I'd make another one. He said, "Oh, they won't like this video. Make another one." Then I'd make another one. He said, "Oh, they won't like this video." So I made multiple videos that I ended up repurposing for other things or whatever. But that was all that stage of how I ended up developing this part of the fasting course, thinking that I was going to be able to sell it to the NFL. But over August, September, October, November, right, the date kept getting delayed. He kept saying like he would take it to meet with them and let me know what's up, but then he wouldn't, then he wouldn't, then he wouldn't. And then he said, you know, he would keep saying he would, but then he wouldn't, and then months would go by. So when I finally went to their place for Christmas, it was after I had already made like this whole 30 plus hour new course. It was all hyped up. Like I was about to sell it to the NFL. Like I was also going to get Decolonize Your Face into the NFL and teach athletes how to straighten their teeth and realign their spines so that their bodies can better communicate and their muscles can more functionally operate. All that good shit. Everything on the website. So that was like a whole thing that was built up. But then when I went, he like did a really good job of avoiding me basically. And this is why life is subconscious. I would not say that his soul is showing because I can't see who he is. I can't see anything about his memories. I can't assume fully why he's doing what he's doing. So I would be really unintelligent or unwise to say that his soul is showing. But life is subconscious, and the subconscious mind is the manifestation of how the soul moves through space. So when you see how bodies move through space, you can say that that body's showing, but the soul is flowing through that body, so it is showing you something. But you're only seeing how that body's moving through space. You're not seeing what that spirit's thinking or exactly how that spirit's feeling. Based on your soul intelligence, you can come to certain conclusions. So I'm rather intelligent. I can come to pretty good conclusions based on how I see spirits moving through space. So my uncle, over the whole time of Christmas, he worked rather diligently to avoid actually talking to me. And now especially it's manifested in him saying that we were going to talk. He kept putting off us talking actually there when he was home and when we were together. He kept finding a way to talk to anyone but me. Literally. And then I actually finally managed to get a talk with him. And when I did talk to him, it was hopefully synchronistic. I was hoping like whatever, because he's a real lover of Egypt. He's like a big lover of history. Like he's a massive lover of then Atlantean things because he loves Anubis. So he's very subconsciously connected, and that's why I find my family so synchronistic. I love him a lot. So I shared with him how all of these ideas of like fasting and decolonize your face are way more spiritual than they appear. And that's where I share with him the whole website of like, yeah, like the fasting course and decolonize your face, your caduceus is your spine. You can see Hermanubis in the Vatican. That's me as Hermes. And then my dog, Max, Anubis, fusing together, we become Hermanubis. And then we're psychopomps. And this is the idea of like being a psychedelic psychopomp and then being symmetry. And I really feel like with my dog being named Max and him being Anubis and you being also I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal his name. I might be. It's okay. I can reveal his name. You also being Max. That's hilarious. His name's Max. But he's a superstar. He's a superstar before me. So this is fine. It's not like the same if I'm talking in a story with other people. Like if I'm like he's already deep in the public eye. So it's whatever. Uncle Max, but that's what makes Max synchronistic. Now I can talk about it a little more freely. The big connection for me with Uncle Max is that I feel like Anubis has assigned me to help him and awaken him to the truth of Atlantis in Egypt because he's super duper interested and in love with all that shit. So now I have this whole website. Now we have the podcast. I'm here and it's like awesome. But I was trying to talk to him about that stuff there and connected to the business of how like we can make a lot of money teaching people about health from a spiritual perspective. But he was just like truly subconsciously doing everything he could to avoid talking to me without just outright saying no. So then that's where I just learned the power of lying. And like he lies a lot. And everyone seems to lie. It's whatever. Everyone lies to serve their ego. That's why like don't get in your ego. If you think about your life and reflect on any moment, there's probably a time where you've lied. And anytime you do lie, it's more in a fire element because the point is you want to project out what you want to see, right? And if you're lying especially, then you're trying to use your fire to also project out what you think other people want to see. So Max knows that I don't want to see him say no. So instead, he's going to lie and say, oh, yeah, we'll talk tomorrow. We'll talk the day after that. We'll talk this time. We'll talk this time. But he's going to keep delaying it. And then the next lie is going to be, oh, we'll talk this time. We'll talk this time. And then he's just going to be delaying it and then delaying it and then delaying it. And I get that. I do get that because that's, just kind of like Masonic communication. It's Masonic. And I'm pretty sure all those football people, especially the people like in fraternities, that's all Masonic. And when you get up to the levels that he's at, you're involved in Mason stuff. That's the point. All those professional athletes are involved in Mason stuff in some degree. That's really like why the fraternities that they pledge are important. And then that's why they also like tried to find their spirituality more filtered through the Masons way of conducting business. And the Masons way of conducting business is to lie so that you're just saying what you think the other people want. This is how the Masons stole all the land from Native Americans. They stole all this land from indigenous peoples because they just lie and say what they thought indigenous peoples wanted to hear so that they could steal more land. That's how Masons conduct business. So it's no surprise then that my uncle, considering the business that he's in, employs those same tactics of communication. It's worked for him. It's worked in the country that he's in. And it's basically just like how all their minds are trained and operating. It's a shame, but I literally saw it completely. Like everything I'm saying, I'm going to bring it even super more concrete into a story that he was sharing. And this was when we were all eating dinner. My aunt made some super fire food. She's a very awesome cook. It was bomb as fuck. So good. She's fantastic. We were eating dinner, and Max came back from this travel thing. So, hold up. Actually, well, we'll get back to that. So Max came back from working because he does a lot of work. So he like travels a lot for his Masonic entertainment business. You know, just the entertainment business. It's all Masonic. They have him traveling a lot so that he can provide his vibration to support the entertainment that they have going on. Because his vibration is so powerful. So that's why they pay him all that money to provide it and be a voice. So when we were eating dinner, you know, it was kind of silent, and I just figured I would ask him how his time working was. And I did. And then that got him starting to talk about his time working. And I'm like, man, why aren't people talking? I'm like, how do I talk to Max more? I wish I could talk to him way more, but he doesn't want to talk to me. So so it's whatever. And he's like shown me like very actively he doesn't want to talk to me. And it's like, bro, I'm trying to talk to you about the shit that you care about. But he explicitly told me that he doesn't feel like he's emotionally equipped to really handle the things I'm talking about. So hey, his self-awareness is super there. I get that. So at dinner, he literally started telling this story about how he was working this sports event. And at this sports event, and I'm going to make this story real quick and short. It was way longer what he told. But we're just going to get to the point. At the sports event, he and the other athletes that he was working with, they had to start serving alcohol to people. But they did not have a liquor license. So he was like, so we were faced with a choice. Do we not sell liquor because we don't have a liquor license, or do we just lie and say that we have the license? And we decided to lie. And my aunt literally like nodded and looked at him and was like, smart. And I just like, Iracel, I swear, like my spirit tapped me on my shoulder. That's what it feels like in these moments where I just get pinches of like, whoa. Like my spirit's like, notice that. That's everything right there. That little detail on our Virgo shit, that's everything. This is why Christians are caught in contradictions, because they have been taught to feel like lying is smart. So now this manifests as them lying to their kids about Santa being real. That whole household, like the whole point of Christians lying to children, like they're maintaining that ritual they wanted to in that household because it gives them a normal Christmas. Okay, it's about the ritual that the government has placed out. Christians have been taught that lying is smart, which means that the people who gave them their religion are actively lying to them. Christians, you have literally been taught that you are being lied to by people who feel like they're smarter than you because they're lying to you. And you feel like inside of your own system where you're being lied to that you're smart because you lie. Yet at the same time, you're trying to follow these 10 commandments. Do not lie, do not steal, do not murder. Like what? It's so contradictory, it hurts. And that was everything right there. So when he says, what are we going to do? Lie? Yes. And then my aunt says, that's smart. That's literally the woman and the man both agreeing that lying to get your way is smart, which is why they're both agreeing that it's smart and good and healthy and fun to lie to your children about Santa Claus being real and about these elves moving around the house. And this is why the Jews who built your religion and thus the Masonic mind that you're using to communicate with the environment that you're in, this is why they view lying to you as very smart. And this is why they view lying to you and telling you that the air is dangerous as a great business plan, because they taught you that lying to your children about Santa Claus is also a great business plan. Because that's what I was doing. That's like, I don't even like that shit. Okay, so like that's what I was caught up in. in that household where like I had to lie to the kids about Santa being real, and I had to participate in this elf on the shelf stuff where they had me moving the elves, and I had to maintain the lie. It felt like I was in Black Panther. We had to maintain the lie. It was a shame. Like, I hated it. I overthink that shit. I don't like lying, okay? Because I'm just very aware of these things. All right, I'm just very aware of these things. And I didn't like that vibration being in that. And so then it's just when they're judging me from that vibration because they feel like they're superior to me because they believe in the lies that Jews are using to manipulate them. And then these Jews are simply just little men who made up masonry so that they can steal everything that I've created and make their idea of God matter. It's insane for me to be in that circumstance as Spider-Man. Like, I'm the ultimate spy right now. Like, no one knows who I am. No one can communicate in the way that I can. And no one can connect this full psychedelic circle like I can. Because they're not the space that actually created the ideas that they're being manipulated by. And the people who are manipulating them with these ideas are simply consumers of what I made. So Christians are consumers of what consumers of Mercury barely understand. Again, Christians are consumers of what consumers of Mercury barely understand. The consumers of Mercury are Jews. The Christians are consuming Jews because the Christians are objectively taught to consume Jesus, to consume the body of Christ, to consume the blood of Christ, because Jews are teaching Christians to support cannibalism. And these Jews simply are expressing their desire to cannibalize all of the indigenous ideas that Mercury and everyone related with Mercury creates out of our souls. And this is why me and my soul group are so instrumental to the Masonic government. Everything that they have is stolen from either Metatron or Uriel or Sashat or any other like spirit. There's Anubis especially. Oh my gosh, what? They're obsessed with Anubis. It's disgustingly insane. It's so silly. Especially like watch Inside Job. Like I'm about to do predictive programming of that. They literally are obsessed with Anubis. They're dropping in Inside Job how the government is creating technology because they're scared of Atlantis and they're scared of a war with Anubis. And only they know this because they stole all the shit. They know what they're doing. They know that they're evil. That's why they're making all this media about how they're evil. And they need to create Christianity to wrap you up in thinking that they're actually the good guys, but they're convincing you as good guys to support evil, which is why now we have the Marvel universe where it's just a bunch of literally completely messed up, confused heroes supporting evil, and they're constantly creating their own villains and allowing their villains to still exist. And this is because this is how the Jews want good people to feel. This is how the Jews want indigenous peoples to feel. They want to be able to kill anyone, but they want the people who get killed to feel like they shouldn't kill them back. So this manipulation is very deep, and it's also very clear. Okay, so notice how water is deep and clear. All right, from the surface it's very clear, but when you look at the bottom, there's almost no end because it's so deep. Yet it's still one body of water, and that's your soul, and that's what you should know about your soul. Okay, your soul is awesome. But the fact that these Jews have stolen all my wisdom and are teaching you that God created you and you don't even have a soul and you didn't live before this lifetime is so disgustingly wrong. It's silly. Like I can't I don't, like where are they going? What? They're insane, bro. They're insane. So that only appeals to people who don't want to be in touch with their past lives. So anyone who actually is of sin and actually feels like they've done a bunch of evil things in past lives, subconsciously they're going to want to feel like they've never lived before. Thus, Christianity or Judaism is going to appeal very hard to them, actually. So that's just part of, the subconscious nature of the universe and how spaces find a way to relate in structures that other spirits create. So these Jews created Christianity because they view lying as smart, and they've taught Christians how they feel. They've taught Christians that they feel like lying is smart. And now that plays out as my family believing that lying is smart. And they like said it right there. I mean, they said it like in the dinner, and they like have their kids, and that's why Christians lie to their children about Santa Claus, because that's smart for business. What is smart to let the government take credit for you being a parent and making just fueling corporations basically. Like, see, like this is all just Jewish witchcraft. Like, objectively, this is all the wildest Jewish witchcraft ever. It is incredibly insane, the levels at which they've taught people to believe that lying is smart. So now they're in this vibration where it's okay for them to be lied to. And now Christians are okay being lied to. And then that's where we get all this crown virus, where everyone is okay believing in a government that has been lying to them up to this point, because for some reason the government is smart for lying. Like, they don't even realize how deep they're in it. This is why I can't even talk to anyone directly about this. I literally have to grow a symmetry where the people who are ready for this can get connected to it at the right time. And now I can tell you that you're the synchronicity in your own life. Will my family listen to this? Probably not. Like, probably not anytime soon. And that's like what I especially have learned. Like, I mean, I want to awaken them. I very much don't want them abducted into a white supremacist UFO heaven where they're actually enslaved, all because they weren't able to objectively look at the history of the religion that they're lost in. But at the same time, if they want to get lost in it, then the more I try to pull them out, the more they pull me in. And then that just looks like them judging me, or things just like being negative, or just like more like possible Martian fighting energy or whatever. Because it's remarkable to me how much my uncle does not want to talk to me about these things. He'd rather talk to like everyone else about anything else, but he doesn't want to talk to me about his spirituality or this business. He doesn't want to help me grow. He doesn't want to help me at all. That's where I'm like really learning the importance of having been doing this alone, because I really needed help last year. So the fact that I made it to May says a lot for me. I'm glad. Good for me. Chase is doing it, because I really like was banking on being able to sell my fasting course to the NFL through him back in August and September and October and November and hopefully December and then hopefully January. But that's where, like, after my whole time with him ended with him saying that we would talk in January, and again it's June right now, and he is not going to hit me up or reply to me. So again, you just have to be able to listen to subconscious flags, because consciously he's not going to say, Chase, I don't want to talk to you because I don't believe in you. You know, like, he's not going to say that. Like, he's going to just avoid it and keep lying so that things can stay light. That's the point of using fire to lie. You keep things light, right? The truth, the water is heavy. When you actually connect with people on the truth, you make things heavier and harder than they need to be in that Masonic way. So this is where in the Masonic mind, he's like, let me use fire, let me use light to keep things light. And that way I can just keep doing whatever I want, and I can ignore his feelings, and I can ignore what he's actually trying to talk to me about. And okay, yeah, whatever. Like, and then that's how it plays out, like this. It's just remarkable, because he was literally super upset that he couldn't go to Egypt for his birthday because of the crown virus. Yet I was trying to literally schedule a little meeting with him through my weeks being in his house with him. He just kept finding a way to avoid me. It was remarkable. Literally trying to schedule a time to talk to him about Hermeticism and how pyramids are built, and how Egypt was actually manifested from the spaces that create astrology. But it's like, I just learned like consumerism, and just how all these people, everyone's just in their consumerist energy. Everyone's just eating what's already been created, and they don't even know where what was created came from. It makes me very angry and very sad. And then the fact that he didn't want to like listen or like hear or support me in any way, especially up to this point, just shows me how alone I am objectively. Like, they're not actually my family in that way. And I get it, like, for sure. That's the importance of knowing who my real family is, and that's then where we get to the spirit realm. But it was just very funny because I was thinking like, okay, my dog being named Max, and then my uncle being Max, and then he's obsessed with Anubis, and he's always loved Anubis, and then he has this whole history with death and being like affiliated with embalming and modern mummification. Maybe he'll resonate. But like, he listened to me talk about all that spiritual stuff to build upon how fasting and the spine work and the bones and like just the health of the body, and literally avoided me completely after that meeting. But here's the thing, I give all the grace, whatever. This is me learning about the objective way that he was operating, because the fact is he still does what he wants and he still talks to who he wants. So he's avoiding me just as hard as he was before this happened, regardless. But this did happen, and I thought that, oh shit, this is synchronistic. Like, it was like too much of a synchronicity. I literally told him about Anubis, told him about how you can use your Merkaba mind to separate from the body and talk to the dead. I shared with him how I wanted to kill myself when I lost my dog, because I love my dog so much. I felt so connected to my dog, and no one can understand that. My religion couldn't understand that. The government couldn't understand that. No fucking book, no one outside of me could understand how connected I felt with my dog. No one but me. And it took me fasting and going through these psychedelic journeys to actually know that I can talk to my dog and know that I can actually separate from this simulation and hang out with him in other simulations and get my soul intelligence back and get my mind right. Literally, get my mind right outside of this world. And know that I can talk to the dead, because death is simply a different state of being. Death is simply transformation, and life is simply creation. So Anubis isn't dead. He's simply creating life somewhere else. If he seems dead to me, that's because I'm creating life here, and I'm not creating life in the same simulation that he is. But if I feel connected with him, then this is where I can create life with him no matter what. And this is the importance of us knowing that we are all spaces, because we can all create life together with each other no matter what. We don't need things outside of ourselves. We literally just have to be aware of how we conduct our alchemical elements into structures and environments that support our ability to communicate with one another. And boom, we have everything. We create all the nature from there. We create all the resources. We create all the technology. We create all the bodies. We create all the good religions, all the good systems, all the structures, everything nice, everything perfect, beautiful. Mwah. But it all happened because of our spaces being aware of how we connect with each other. Not because we were taught to believe that someone needs to save us from our feelings about ourselves, and this is just a subconscious manifestation of how much they hate themselves because they are actually evil. These religions are actually created by objectively very evil people, and they show it in everything that they do. See, my family won't listen to any of that, and that's where Max completely avoided it. But again, graces, because even though I thought sharing with him the importance about Anubis and how death is something that connects life. Death is the water that makes life actually matter. Life is simply the fire. Life is what you want to see, but death is the water that makes life matter. Thus, you can use your mind to go communicate with other spirits in other atmospheres. And that is going to be you knowing that any spirit that's dead to you in your environment simply transitioned, transformed to go create in a different atmosphere, to go create in a different world. And they can still create in this world with you. It's just a matter of if you want to connect with them and carry them in your heart. That's the point of Hermanubis, by the way. Me communicating with you as Hermes, how you can carry people in your heart. And if that spirit actually wants to walk with you, then you will fuse like Goku and Vegeta to become Gogeta, and now your power levels combine. And that's really what a twin flame is. Like, you have to actually be twin flames to want to do that. You have to actually want to see like the same things and be in the same imagination. Me sharing all of this with him about Anubis and death seem to be inconsequential. I mean, I won't deny the power of planting a seed, but it was very synchronistic because his father ended up dying 1 to 2 days after I had that conversation with him. Literally 1 to 2 days after I talked to Max about how my whole fasting business and Decolonize Your Face was about me as Hermes bringing Mercury to Earth, and I feel like Anubis brought him and me into contact so that I can help him and guide him along his life, which he literally said to me, like, the first day that I was there visiting, he objectively said to me, he said this, and I remember it. I remember things that people say. He said, aren't we all on Earth to find a purpose? And I was like, well, hold up, Max. What if you come to Earth with a purpose? Like, then you wouldn't be on Earth to find it. But he was like, oh, well, yeah, but that's if you come to Earth with a purpose. But he was making the point that most people come to Earth to find a purpose. And thus, he subconsciously is expressing that even though he has lived this whole life of building this Masonic world, he doesn't feel like he's truly found his purpose. He feels like he came to Earth to find his purpose, like many other people do. Which, hey, absolutely, Metatron is all about it. That's why Metatron made Earth. Okay, that's literally why Metatron made Earth, so that spirits can come connect on something relatable and find their purposes together. So I thought that this would all be very clear to him when I said this then. And when he ended up having to deal with the loss of his father, literally a day or two after I expressed to him how when my dog died, I wanted to kill myself, but I was able to use everything that I'm talking about in my business, everything that I'm talking about with fasting and stuff, to connect with him and be with God and actually do what Jesus talks about instead of feeling like I should eat Jesus. I thought that he would care about that, but he didn't. Like, he hasn't talked to me since. And the whole grace thing is that, of course, he's completely torn up from losing his father. At the same time, he was expressing to me how he didn't really talk to his father, and that it came as a surprise. And then, of course, the thing, as when it does, is reflect upon how they could have spent more time with them. And that was like a short conversation that we had about how he could have somehow been able to spend more time with him, but it just didn't work out that way. But then that's it. And the point is, he's still doing his whole life. Like, it's now been 5.5 months or whatever, and he hasn't talked to me at all about Chase Your Genes. He hasn't talked to me at all about helping me with the fasting course, and he just kept lying, because he was already, and let me not say lying, I guess, but it seems like lying, because in retrospect, he definitely didn't intend to do the things that he was saying. But then also, if he did, then it wasn't lying, and that's the point. See, so when someone says an intention, right, that's not necessarily a lie. And then that's where we get into building a relationship with men. Because this is like the idea of like a father, right, that people have a very like toxic relationship with. How a father will lie, because a father just uses a fire element to project out imaginations and ideas, and then you connect with the imagination, but then he doesn't connect with his own fire, so now you're left experiencing a lie. So the way that Max uses his words to tell me the way he's going to conduct business with me leaves me feeling like he's lied to me a lot, and he's led me on with lies, and it's led to nothing. Like, literally, it's just led to, really, it led to me producing a bunch of stuff that he's not going to use, but now I have it. So now I have 2 versions of the course, which is great. And hey, it was all part of my symmetry journey. It's whatever. He'll probably want to talk to me when I have money. It seems like that's the only time he's going to care about me. Because right now he only cares about making money and talking to people who either make him money or people who make him feel secure in his money. But he doesn't want to talk to me. Like, objectively, even though I literally had a whole meeting with him about how Anubis sent me to help him deal with death, and then his father died 2 days afterwards, he's going to take that experience and still ignore me. Because the fact is, he just doesn't want to talk to me on that level or really connect with me like that at all. And then that just shows that he literally doesn't want to help me. He's not actually really my family in that way, or at least, you know, he's on the consumer side. And really, that's, you know, Masons then. Like, yeah, got it. Like, I understand. I'm going to have to figure this out alone. It was just, this is my thing as Chase. I was putting so much expectation into thinking that this was set up. Thinking that Max was somehow set up by Anubis and that he would be able to fund my business and finance me so that then I could help him even connect with his dad through water fasting and psychedelics, or just help him hyper communicate into a better reality and we could all grow as a family. But no, instead it was them judging me for not getting the shot and him ignoring me after leading me on and thus lying to me. Because really our last talk was him saying, oh yeah, we'll have a conversation in January. In like January, like in the middle of January or whatever. But that was after he already led me on like multiple times. And that was the last time we really talked. And literally, I won't be surprised if I don't talk to him for the rest of the year, because he's not going to hit me up about my business. He literally basically never cared. And it's just very interesting to me observing that and like having to realize that. Like, if he actually cared, then he would be helping me and wanting to talk to me about Anubis and talk to me about Egypt, talk to me about the Caduceus and Hermeticism and the pyramids and his health, the body, you know, being able to fast and heal his stuff. Like, he's suffering from health issues that he would actually be able to solve with fasting. Like, that's why this course is so important and everything that I'm sharing. Yet for some reason, like, they don't care. And then literally my aunt is going to break me down more and say, well, Chase, like, you need to figure out something else. You can't be trying to do this. Like, no one really wants to fast. No one's trying to buy a course on how to fast. And then she's saying no one's trying to buy a course on how to fix their teeth or heal their spines. So my aunt objectively told me that no one wants to listen to my podcast. Again, these were the words she used. No one. No one wants to listen to my podcast. No one wants to be in my fasting course. No one wants to be in Decolonize Your Face and learn about how their teeth work. No one wants to be in that course either. Basically, no one wants to learn from me. And then that's where she was telling me that I need to make art and focus on producing art for Etsy and, you know, making trinkets, being a commissioned artist in that way instead of a spiritual teacher, because no one wants to learn from me. And again, that's not personal. Like, this is literally the world that she's coming from. She doesn't look around and see in her world anyone who wants to learn these spiritual ideas that I'm talking about. Like, literally everyone in her world just wants to eat. They want to eat the body of Christ. They don't want to be the body of Christ. They want to consume Jesus. They don't want to create Jesus. If they created Jesus, then they would realize that they are the indigenous individual that they're worshiping who is being sacrificed to the government. But because they want to consume Jesus, they support people who want to cannibalize them, and they support cannibalizing others. And then that leads to them saying that lying is smart and living a lifestyle where they lie to their children about Santa Claus being real, and they get lied to about viruses being in the air. And this is all smart for business because it all makes money, because this is all Jewish witchcraft. It's insane. It's so sad, and it like manipulates our minds and messes up how we communicate and connect, because I mean, it has to. Like, that's why it's called a crown virus. It's supposed to mess up how you communicate and connect. You communicate and connect with your consciousness, right? All that C energy, that's the corona. If you don't have your corona, then someone has taken your power, and you are effectively a sheep slave, a sheep a silent sheep slave. And this is just where it's funny, because in my time there, my uncle, his mom was there, and his mom, that was my first time meeting her. She truly did not like me, and she did not like me. She almost certainly hated me. And it was all because of the crown virus. Like, literally every time that she talked in my time there, she was shitting on people who did not get the shot. So she was constantly throwing stones, all that biblical energy. She's constantly throwing stones at people who didn't get the shot, talking about how she's an old person and anyone who didn't get the shot is a selfish young person. She was calling out selfish young people. I kept feeling the subconscious pins and needles and twinges, especially when, like, I'm in the room. And she started getting really deep at, like, oh, anyone who doesn't get the shot's really stupid. They're so selfish. They're putting everyone in danger. And then, like, talking to my family, like, can you believe that they didn't get the shot? And then everyone in my family's like, oh, yeah, people who didn't get the shot, they're dangerous. And I'm the one there who's been fasting. None of you fast like I do. Yet somehow I'm the one being sacrificed. Yet somehow I'm the one being sacrificed because I'm fasting. So because I'm actually doing what Jesus does, because I'm actually healthy, you get to tell me that I'm a demon and you get to sacrifice me. What kind of Jewish witchcraft is this actually, though? Fucking insane. And so now they get to sacrifice me because I'm actually fasting, all because they're taught that they just needed to get shot up by people who actually are smarter than them. But again, these people are using all of these creations that they stole from indigenous individuals to act like they're smart, when in reality they're causing climate change and causing health problems inside of all of you. And allowing them to shoot you with more injections is only going to cause more health problems for you and the environment. Like, they're constantly creating trash and all this plastic, destroying the environment, all because they believe that Jesus justified their genocide. And you support that. You Christians, everyone who's subscribing to these religions, support that. And then you live out these lifestyles of saying, like, oh, lying is smart, so it's smart for people to lie to me because I get to build their business, and thus I should lie when people tell me to lie. And this is why I'm making a children's book, what do you do when God tells you to lie? Because that's literally what it is. When adults are lying to their children about the tooth fairy being real, or when adults are lying to their children about Santa Claus being real. That's literally you agreeing that the government is your God. All right, so that's the premise of the book. What do you do when God tells you to lie? For real. Clearly, most people lie because they're like, oh, well, God's smart, so, I'll just lie because it's for a greater good. That's literally how they feel about lying about this virus in the air. They think that building the matrix off of your rape and genocide and the sex trafficking of children is for the greater good. So they are justifying all things. They're justifying cannibalism. They're justifying everything that they possibly can with Jesus. It's very simple. And it's clear in not only their religion, but the way that the people who believe in their religions communicate. I'm just using my family as an example right now, but there's infinite examples. The reason Max has not talked to me about Anubis up to this point is because he would rather be in a Christian consumptive mindset instead of a spiritual creative mindset. And I don't know how he's going to get into a spiritual creative mindset. I don't know how anyone's really going to get into a spiritual creative mindset. I just know that I have to do it for myself. And I was hoping that I would be able to get help from people who supposedly believe in me, but I haven't been able to get help from anyone. Like, I've asked people to help. Yeah, whatever. I haven't been able to get help. So that's just where I have to know that my help isn't coming from physical reality. My help is coming from more so the spirit. And yeah, I mean, my family helps me in the way that they do. It's just not in the way that I wish that they would, right? So then that's where we get the conversation of expectations. I'm infinitely grateful for everything that my family has done to make me as Chase Clarence Calloway possible, which is why I'm not trying to actually get into my bag of expecting more. It's just then very interesting to me that they don't actually care about all these basic spiritual facts that I'm sharing on this podcast and I'm sharing on my website. Like, they objectively just want to eat and be comfortable lying to each other and being lied to, and then creating health problems, and then complaining about the problems that are being created by them and for them. Like, I don't know, like, people are just comfortable complaining and consuming. It's really uncomfortable, I guess, to create. You know what I mean? That's like the whole idea of money. People who created money couldn't just create something that didn't need money. They needed to create money so that they could consume everything that they find valuable. Now we have a world where money rationalizes cannibalism. If you have enough money, you can eat whoever you want. If you have enough money, you can enslave whoever you want. If you have enough money, you can murder whoever you want. You can have sex, rape, and dehumanize whoever you want. This is how America was built. This is how Europeans manifest their destiny. And this is why they teach everyone who believes in European religions that this is smart to do. So now it's just a bunch of Martian energy. Just them making money off a bunch of fucking chaotic war violence. And if you understood your astrological chart, you wouldn't be able to get lost in this. You really wouldn't. Alright? If you understood your Mars, and you understood how your Mars is correlated with the universe based on the body that you're in right now, then you wouldn't be able to get lost in actually being so violently passionate with others that you create chaos and war. Because this is why humans have been causing climate change and just been lost in this fucked up system. They're not aware of their astrology. Like, specifically, the Jews have stolen everything from Mercury, all this astrological wisdom from the Library of Alexandria, which held more information than Mercury shared. Again, it's all of us as indigenous individuals. This was the collective world library that had so much information about astrology that is gone now because of people who made the modern religions that are manipulating men currently. They decided to use this astrology to enslave humans. So now all of these humans are enslaved by astrology instead of being aware of how they're using astrology to connect. And thus you're supposed to ascend through your connections. It's not that your connections weigh you down. You're supposed to ascend through your connections. That's what it means to grow and build and level up. So astrology, your astrological chart, is how you connect. The Christians and Jews are using astrology to make you a slave to the way that they want you to connect with astrology, which is them having you celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate the genocide of Native Americans, celebrate Christmas, celebrate lying to your children about Santa Claus coming into their home and leaving presents, celebrate Easter, celebrate the rising of the one true superhero that was made up from stolen Zoroastrian ideas. All these religions are them making you practice their version of astrology while telling you that doing it for yourself is sinful. They're literally teaching you to hate yourself in every single facet of Christianity. It is so beyond disgusting. It's insane. It's remarkable how deep they've gone with the witchcraft to make hate seem loving. Christianity is the most hateful religion. Judaism is the most hateful religion I've ever seen. Yet they sell it by making it appear loving. And this is just them weaponizing the love that you should have for yourself against you. Because it's not possible for them to love you more than you love yourself. The moment you think someone can love you more than you love yourself, you do not love yourself enough. You fucked up. Welcome to the symmetry. We're not going to have any of that here. You're going to love yourself more than anyone could possibly love you. Because no one else exists outside of yourself. That's what true self-love is. Okay? Like, get that? Do you get that? With Hermeticism? Okay, this is Hermeticism. When you truly love yourself, no one exists outside of yourself. Meaning you are happy alone. You do not need to connect with or consume the attention of anyone outside of yourself. You are simply creating light from being happy alone. This is the idea of actually being the son of God. They stole it from me. This is the idea of actually shining your light and being the child of your own spirit. The child of God is you creating your consciousness by combining your ego and your soul. That's your mind. Really, you're creating your mind. I would say your consciousness is your number 7, your mind is your number 3. So your mind is the chi that breathes life into your imagination. So now your mind can build bodies, and then all these bodies allow you to transform, and that blood allows you to build families, which actually create what you want to be conscious of, which is your family. Here we are. Boom. So just had to get the words right for the numbers. The mind is a number 3, but the mind is like the first consciousness, but really consciousness is a number 7. Consciousness is you separating yourself from all of the spaces outside of yourself. That's what your conscience is. Your conscience-ness, your conscience, your with science, your contained science. How do you structure light inside of your own space? That's your consciousness, right? So that's how you communicate with yourself. How do you structure light inside of your own space? That's your own atmosphere. Your space doesn't exist until it makes an atmosphere. So it's about making that atmosphere so your space, the spirit, can actually observe what it has created to be able to see how it wants to connect with its imagination. And then this is always changing. Alchemy, boom, 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 boom. Very nice. So you should know this. This is stuff that everyone should know. The Library of Alexandria was free for all. Everyone should know this. The only reason people don't know this is because these Masonic Jewish Christians stole it all, and they want to trap humans in the dumbest, most idiocracy vibration possible. Now, I could have gone way harder on my family because they were going way harder on me subconsciously, but I'm not going to, because there were a bunch of very awesome positive things that came out of my time with my family, and I don't want to murk up my memory of the experience by just talking negatively. You know, because I've loved being with my family this whole lifetime, so I'm passionate. This is literally you getting my Martian energy of how angry I am at how Jews have manipulated the minds of everyone, all the men in the world. And so now both women and men, women and men, they both feel like lying is smart. So now both my aunt and my uncle are teaching their children that lying is smart. They're lying to their children about Santa Claus being real, and they're being lied to about this virus being real. And they're supporting getting injected with substances that are only going to cause more health problems. And it's remarkable to me because Max's mom was constantly complaining about all the health problems that she has gotten from eating and consuming past medications. And I'm just amazed. Like, how can you as an old person complain about how aspirin gave you kidney failure, or how this medication gave you this failure, or this medication gave you this problem, or this problem, or this medication gave you this problem, but you're still going to trust the system that is giving you a new medication? At what point do you look at the people giving you this medication and say enough? Like, at what point do you just have to die? I'm just like, everyone has a different breaking point. See, everyone has a different breaking point. But like, I'm just like, that's remarkable to me. That shit's wild to me, that you could be like super old and complaining about how your health has been destroyed by the same pharmaceutical companies that you're saying you need to save you from the air right now. How are you not applying the judgment that you have from past medications fucking up your body to the current medication that they're trying to force down your gullet right now? I'm so confused because they are so violently adamant on how we need these injections. There's no way people could look at it as possible medicine, right? But yet my aunt looks at it as possible medicine. And then that's where she has all of her made up logic about how it has been proven to heal and stop people from dying, and it's been proven to save people from this virus that has a 99.97 survival rate. It's been proven to heal people, so now everyone needs it. If you don't get it, then you're the problem, and we need to side-eye you, and we need to talk negatively about you, and we need to judge you, and we need to shit on you, and we need to talk about how we're going to take you out of society because we want to give everyone vaccine cards. We want to make sure that if you don't have this injection, you're not allowed into bars, you're not allowed into buildings, and all these buildings built on stolen land. So this is how they're manifesting their matrix. They literally need to make this matrix and force you to get injections in your bloodstream, get heavy metals injected right into your heart, so your heart gets inflamed, your circulatory system gets fucked up. Also, you're a good enough slave, a good enough sleepy sheep to serve their weak ass climate changing causing desires. Climate changing causing desires. Literally though. Literally. All they're doing is destroying the environment and saying they're justified in the cannibalism that they're engaging in to do so. That's all they've been doing with this Masonic system. Again, it's right here in their whole religion and everything that they communicate about. And even all the shows that are coming out right now. These Masons really have everyone's minds in a wild ass UFO trap. Like, my family was judging me so hard for not getting the injection when literally I'm way healthier than all of them. Like, somehow I'm healthier than them, but I'm being judged as being the least healthy because I'm not gonna let white supremacists shoot me up with poison. What kind of fucking world am I in? What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? That's insane. I'm just baffled at what this place has turned into. The world is beautiful. This system is making it ugly as fuck. This system is disgustingly, horrifyingly ugly. This system, this Jewish Christian system, this Martian Masonic New World Order system is built on cannibalizing the creations of indigenous individuals. Whether it's our body, our mind, our soul. They wish they could eat space. But that's the point of eating everything that comes out of space and convincing you that you're not a space before you created a body to experience your space with other spaces. Whack. Yeah, they're so beyond evil and twisted for manipulating everyone in this way and needing to go to such extents to do it, all because they're not happy alone. All because they can't be alone in their little caves. So they need to take over the entire world and force everyone to work for money just so that they can cannibalize and cause climate change and spread genocide and engage in remarkable just no words for the amount of sex trafficking that money has rationalized. Jesus loves sex trafficking. It's quite insane. Alright, it's quite insane. Again, when I say Jesus, I'm talking about the people that invented Jesus. Alright, Jesus himself is a modge-podge of spiritual ideas stolen from Zoroaster and Hermes and other indigenous individuals. And historically, again, it's all linked to the Masons that stole this wisdom from the Library of Alexandria. Simple as that. Now, of course, Christians don't have to believe me. It's just the fact is, there's way more proof for what I'm saying than proof for anything in their Bible being real. Everything in the Bible being real is only real because indigenous peoples made it real. And it made more sense when indigenous peoples were talking about it before white people started talking about it. Before it got colonized by Rome or whatever the fuck. Nature makes more sense before the Bible was written to say that everything in nature was created by one person experiencing himself through you. That's literally rape. Okay, so this is why I'm saying Jesus supports sex trafficking. The whole idea of Jesus being the only Son of God is to sex traffic your child out of your space so that you can get raped in the Abrahamic heaven, or the American heaven. The Abrahamic American heaven. All right, the Masonic heaven. The Masonic matrix. There's the point of them simultaneously saying, you are the child of God, but oh, Jesus is the only child of God, so you cannot have sex unless you get married under our government. And now we're going to harness all the energy that you use to have sex for ourselves. That's sex trafficking. This is spiritual sex trafficking. So I'm showing you why subconsciously Christians and Jews are obsessed with sex trafficking indigenous children, raping indigenous women, and then lying about it. Because that's the way that they can keep doing it. It's no different than how my uncle then wants to lie about, oh, we'll meet this time, we'll meet this time, we'll meet this time. He learned that from them. He learned that from the Masons. Or it's just in general a masculine trait that gets exacerbated when you get into that business area and you start to engage more in that energy because you're doing what works for you. In general, that's the Mason masculine trait of how Jews have built a whole New World Order government system off of sex trafficking children and using Jesus to justify it. And they have all this witchcraft about how they build these systems that allow it to be a very profitable business model. And somehow all of these TV shows are about these concepts and people just think it's entertainment. Huh? Oh my God. Yeah, I'm so angry at this system. I love the world. This system is not going to allow me to hate the world. All right? Sometimes I find myself saying I hate the world, and I just have to double down on how much I hate the system for it convincing me to hate the world. This is a beautiful world. If you're alive right now, you're supposed to be alive. This air is beautiful. These corporations are not supposed to be poisoning our water. They're not supposed to be profiting off of poisoning our air. They're not supposed to be profiting off of poisoning us with injections that they created a need for. They're not supposed to be profiting off of slavery. They're not supposed to be profiting off of keeping you ignorant. They're not supposed to be profiting off of destroying land and raping women and stealing children from their homes, aka abducting your mind from your spirit. This is insane. Look. This is a quick podcast, obviously, whatever, quick, quote unquote. I'm going to go cool off because I feel like I've said everything that I want to say. I have grown this episode of The Symmetry. I love my family a lot. I love them so much. That's why I'm alive. I came here for you guys. All of you who are listening are my family. If my actual physical family ends up listening and they really connect with this, you just showed me that we were more connected on a spiritual level, and that's awesome. But I'm not going to put it past anyone. Everyone is simply an individual in a world that they seem to barely understand, and thus they're just consumers of ideas that they don't even know how they were created. But everyone has their own individual perspective. I know that for a fact. And I'm just trying to get correlated with the best perspectives. I love my aunt's perspective. I love my uncle's perspective. I love their daughters so much. Oh my gosh. I love my mom. I love my family a lot. I love my godfather. I love my godmother. I love everybody, okay? Everyone has an infinitely individual perspective, and that is the point of Chase Your Genes. That's the point of this podcast. That's the point of me as Symmetry communicating with you about how you could create your own religion right now and go way harder than anyone who's stolen my shit. You just have to love yourself and be happy alone, and then at that point you'd be using Hermeticism and you'd be practicing my stuff anyway, and then you probably wouldn't want to steal from me because there's no point. I mean, clearly these people are very profitable in stealing from me. It works for them. It's just like, I mean, if you want it to work for you, it kind of won't. It'll backfire. It's backfiring on them, by the way. So, like everything that these Jews and Christians have stolen from Mercury, everything that Martians stolen from Mercury, all this technology that they feel like they're intelligent for commandeering, it's backfiring on them. Best believe that. They look like they're successful because spirits will co-create realities with them, so they're going to be successful in their own little atmosphere, but that's why this is a spiritual social experiment. Okay, like if you're alive right now, know that you're part of one of the greatest spiritual social experiments ever. Hopefully we're going to get it on track and we're going to solve climate change, because it is strictly being caused by all of us as individual gods not believing in our individual godlyhood. So now we feel like we need to support someone else's idea of God, and their idea of God was simply stolen from Mercury. It was simply stolen from Metatron, and it's simply them wanting to cannibalize everything that Mercury created so that they can use astrology to enslave you in the Matrix instead of teaching you to be happy ascending into a space that you created for yourself. So I hope this was helpful to you. I hope this was helpful for everyone who happens to be tapping in, because I am truly bearing my soul here, talking about my family and my internal things, right? Like, look, my Mars and my moon are together. They're both in the 4th house. So that's Cancer, all right? I'm like literally like showing you the Martian energy that I have for home, and how personally and passionately I take the colonization of the Americas. My fucking external home. But of course, the point is not to be attached. We allowed this place to get colonized because we're on to bigger, better shit. And I, as Chase Calloway, was simply called back into this reality to hopefully provide balance and allow us to get everything back on track, so humans can keep thriving instead of dealing with the projections of aliens. I'm so tired of being in a society where I'm taught that humans are naturally violent and humans are naturally evil, when literally that's simply Europeans. Like, indigenous peoples are not naturally violent. Indigenous peoples do not naturally destroy their environment. Yet now I'm in a world where they're destroying the environment very recently while saying that this is naturally what humans do. Lies. 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 Don't let these white supremacists lie to you. Much love. Peace. Connect with your spirit. Water fast for yourself. Don't water fast for others. Water fast for yourself. That's how you'll find God. Don't let some religion or external system commandeer how you fast. All right. If you want help, get into chaseyourgenes.com. Join our online courses, right? I have a whole school for you. You can use all my wisdom to fast. And guess what? I'm helping you connect with yourself. This is me being your psychedelic psychopomp, the trippy tripsy symmetry. All right. Showing you how to restore balance in your own space so you can use your mental Metatron Merkaba to actually fly out of your body, fly back into your spirit, and realize that you were already in heaven before you were born. And if you weren't already in heaven before you were born, that's because you didn't feel the same way about your space that I hope you would feel now after you fast. So, decolonize your mind, decolonize your space, clean up your whole act, all right? Clean up your dirty, dirty mind, okay? Just saying, bro, everyone's got like these dirty demonic minds, right? We've all been polluted by these demonic devices. These phones. Kids are watching porn at the age of 5 now. I at least wasn't watching porn that young, but shit's very demonic. Shit's very dirty, okay? So this is natural, okay? It's natural to, be interested in sex, but the whole point is decolonizing your space and cleansing yourself so that you can actually be aware of who you truly are, instead of reacting to demons, instead of reacting to enemies that appear to be attacking you from outside of yourself. Because that's really all a demon is, an enemy that appears to be attacking you from outside of yourself. Much love. Peace out. See you next time. Gang, gang. Now this is just a quick PS. Again, shout out my uncle Max. All right, he's very deeply connected with my dog Max. Okay, my dog Max is Anubis, and Max, my uncle Max, loves Anubis. It's just that he wants to be connected with Anubis, and I thought he would want to talk to me about spirituality and support my business. But he has clearly shown me that he does not want to support me. He does not want to talk to me. He does not want to help me in any fashion like that. And I get that's just how it is. Like, that's literally just how it is. I can't make him want to help me or make him want to support me. He's simply going to do what he wants to do. And of course, death is completely different to me. So when his father passes on, I know that his father is more free than when he was in the body. Yet I am very compassionate and saddened to how he wishes he could have spent more time with him. And that's in general why life is so precious and why I value life. That's why you see me making this podcast, and I'm so passionate about preserving life and actually passionate about the actual genocide of actual indigenous people and how Jesus is actually being used to justify that genocide and all the ways in which everyone is supporting it by speaking English and being unaware of the ideas that they're consuming and how they're using these ideas to consume lands and things outside of themselves. And they're just in an endless quest for money because money allows them to eat more. And now they're just chemically addicted to eating. And then they create health problems from being chemically addicted to eating. Like many football players in general, like many people in America. Okay, so this is, see how it's all connected? Alright, this is why fasting is essential. And big condolences, okay, I feel very strongly for my uncle and his father's passing. His father is only moving on and been moved on to more of his life and more infinite, expansive, explorative experiences. And that's why I would love for my Uncle Max to actually take me seriously, take this business seriously, take what I'm saying seriously, and invest in his ability to fast and communicate with his dad based on using his mind to separate from his body. But he does not believe in me. He does not take what I'm doing or saying seriously, and thus he would rather ignore me and just lie to me to keep me on the hook until I am forced to understand that it's not making sense for me to keep putting him in a position to lie. Like it doesn't make sense for me to keep hitting up like, hey, are we going to talk now? Just so that I can watch him tell me that we're going to talk a different date. And I know for a fact that when that date comes, I'm just going to be put through that cycle again and that cycle again and that cycle again. So whatever. That's how it be. I'm completely positive he and his dad will be communicating again one day, whether it's sooner or later. Alright, regardless, they're gonna convene and connect again. And I'm upset at the Masons that taught everyone to mourn death and believe that once people are gone, they're gone, or they've been colonized into some heaven and they need to keep worshiping the same system so that they can all get to that heaven. Like, no, boo. Wow, it's so evil. So evil to colonize death like that. They've truly colonized death, and that's how they're making so much money off of this crown virus and manipulating everyone's fear about the crown virus. And this is going to be their endless business plan. That's why they're going to make up endless variants. If you let them keep going, I promise they're going to have 100 different variants in like 5 years. I can't promise that, but hey, it's a very true exaggeration, all right? Because we already have like, I feel like 10 variants, and it's only been 2.5 years. There might be more variants than 10. So whatever. And as for my grandma, what I find very interesting, all right, before I skedaddle from here, what's very interesting to me when I was talking to my grandma, she doesn't believe in me because yeah, she just in general like does not believe or care about anything I'm saying in regards to the medical industry or the caduceus. Now she'll listen to me talk about health, but once I talk about being Hermes Trismegistus and being the creator of the caduceus and how the people who made the health industry stole everything from Egypt and stole everything from thus Hermes, and our whole idea of health is just colonized from white supremacy, and that's why they use the caduceus, she doesn't want to hear any of that. She literally does not care about any of that. She literally told me explicitly, like, Chase, it's just a symbol. I'm like, what? After everything I've said, like, how do you not care about this symbol of the caduceus? And then she's also like one of the many old people in the camp where she'll talk about how these pharmaceutical drugs cause health problems, but at the same time, she feels like she needs the next pharmaceutical drug to solve her health problem. Just so that what, she can complain about this one in the next 10 years, unless it kills her too fast for her to complain about I hope not. Please fast. The way to get all this garbage out of your blood is to fast. Truly, I promise. That's why Jesus did it. That's why religions in general, spiritual systems love fasting. It's all Mercury talking about being the messenger of your own God. Okay? Be the messenger of your own God. For real. For my grandma to listen to me talk about the caduceus and just be like, it's just a symbol. Like, it doesn't matter that much. It shows me the state that most people are in. Like, most people have been indoctrinated by Masons to believe that they're simply just using symbols that don't matter. I can't imagine being so spiritually ignorant that you think that your government is utilizing symbols that don't matter. How contradictory of a Christian can you be? If the symbol didn't matter, you wouldn't be using it. The contradictions hurt every bit of my soul. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. The contradictions are insane. If the symbol didn't matter, then don't use it. Don't steal it, and don't use it to build your empire. You fucking colonizers. Now you colonize my grandma and now I'm supposed to fight her or whatever? No, I love my family. You fucking colonizers. They're so evil. These Martian Masons, they're so ugly. They're so internally ugly. They hate themselves more than you could ever hate them. But they're definitely trying to give people a run for their money. Oh, best believe they hate themselves so much. They wish they could manifest someone who hates them more than they hate themselves. They're trying. There probably might be people out there. I can't speak for them. I love everyone too much to get lost in that. But out of love for everyone, I have to feel hate for them. Like, it's insane. Like, they literally don't love any of you. They don't love any. The only thing they love about you guys, about humans, is eating humans. That's what the point of their religion is, to eat humans, to cannibalize nature, to consume the creations of indigenous individuals and then lie about it. I hate them. Disgusting. They're so evil. Boo Masons. Boo everyone who stole their ideas from Metatron. Boo everyone who's weaponizing Mercury and astrology to enslave you instead of letting you be happy alone in a simulation that you are co-creating with all of us right now. Much love. Peace. Yeah.